Hello and welcome to today's episode of the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Davis, and my co-host, Chris Branch. The 10-minute daily podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, marketer, and content creator wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one particular area per episode. And today we are going to react to the artist Will.I.AM and his take on AI. So he was on a television show in the UK called This Morning, being interviewed, and he made a statement around AI. Now, before we show the clip, so again, if you're watching this, you'll see the clip. If you're not, you'll hear what he has to say. Chris, I know that you have been watching quite a few things around Will.I.AM and his take on AI. So generally speaking, before we play the clip, what do you think of Will.I.AM and his take around AI?
I think it's fascinating because he's got such a unique perspective, being a top musician and a top tech entrepreneur. So it's a weird mixture of the two worlds, which we don't rarely see.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, he's really good at some of the things, that the way he breaks certain things down. And what we're going to play now is as I said, a clip of him breaking down from a question. It was quite a general question. What do you think of AI? So let's hear what he has to say.
And one thing, and I remember watching a show that you were on, and you were looking into AI. What are your thoughts about AI and AI in the music industry?
So first, I think musicians need to have a central place to work. Right now, musicians are working across 5 different platforms. Not just musicians, creatives in general. They're working off like a messenger and then a digital asset management platform, email, Zoom, and so FYI.ai is like a great tool for creatives to work across. I think in this new age of generative AI, artists are going to be competing with not only like humans, but AI will be, making some pretty fresh music in the next couple of years.
Do you think there needs to be some regulations on it, though, Will?
There needs to be regulations that don't stifle innovation, of course, but regulations that protect us across the whole field.
Yeah, your identities as well, like the voices that the AI can come up with can sound, we've heard it online where we think it's someone's new single and it's an AI.
Yeah, but what about if somebody calls you and you think it's somebody, but it's not?
There's a lot.
FaceTiming, Zooming.
Well, look,
not only just voice, but even face stuff as well.
It might be good for some music, but it's no Will.I.AM in our eyes.
I like to look at it like, one day AI is going to do yoga, but it ain't going to stretch for me. You got to stretch. Some things you got to do yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
so there you go. It's some interesting takes. I like the last bit when he says, one day AI will do yoga, but it's not going to stretch for me. I kind of like that bit. What's your overall thoughts then? So what do you think generally, like what he's just said? Do you agree with it? Do you kind of think he's got a good take on it?
Yeah, I love the fact that he mentioned about not stifling innovation, because clearly he thinks there's a lot of potential in this technology if used in the right ways. And I think that he's got the right ethics to do that as a musician, because he knows all of his own, boundaries, and he represents people as well. He collects talent, I understand, from previous interviews, as well as being his own talent. So
yeah,
that's, he's even got the perspective of like a record label owner, where he's trying to protect the talent he represents, as well as his own talents and uniqueness. So yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I love that he's so keen on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think going back to what you just said there, or what he said as well about the regulation, he goes, I guess we're going to need regulation, but as long as it doesn't stifle the artist, as long as it doesn't stop the artist doing certain things. And I think that's key. A lot of AI, depending on who can set all the regulations. And right now in the UK, in the US, and globally, there's a lot of there's a huge summit that's happening as we speak around AI protection. And I think the key, it's important to have people like him on these type of summits, because he will look at it from 2 different angles. How can we use it to protect the creator, but also understanding we need to protect the general public as well, and having those regulations. So I think that's important. I also think when he's said about the competition increasing, he made a very good point. He goes, because the reality is, now you're competing as an artist, you're competing against another artist as well as people creating AI. So I can't sing, I can't even produce, but I can prompt. All of a sudden, am I now in the game? Am I now in the as? Can you consider me as an artist? So, and that's if the answer is yes, then yeah, anyone could potentially be competition as well.
I love how the definition of the artist has changed throughout the years. Like what people classed as an artist no longer, imagine saying to someone 25 years ago, if I enter a few words into a computer and generate some music, does that define me as a musician or as an artist?
25 years, 25 months, people will be going,
well, yeah,
you're crazy.
It's really bizarre, isn't it? Like, but it's again, like we've seen this revolution going through art right now, and now it's come for music. It's just the next big thing.
It's going to come for all different industries. It's going to come for, if you look at if we just stick to entertainment, music is coming for like obviously images and design. There, it's coming for the video games. It's coming for filmmaking. It's coming for everything. But if you're listening and you're thinking it sounds quite sinister when we say coming for, we don't actually mean it in a sinister way. It's just saying it's going to evolve the industry. It's going to have...
And it will enable more people to be part of these. It's decentralizing these access to stuff.
Yeah.
Like right now, unless you were a good social media manager, you probably, before generative AI, weren't able to make good images for social media, unless you had Photoshop skills or something like this. Whereas now you have the ability to do that, and soon you'll be able to make music, compose music, and all sorts of other things.
Yeah. The other thing you said that I thought really kind of stood out is when the guy was talking about audio and deep faking in audio. And he kind of said, yeah, people can do that and create a new Drake song and a new Oasis song or Elvis song. But I'm more concerned about when people are making phone calls and pretending to be someone else, which that for me is obviously way more important than someone creating a song or using AI. It's the other sinister stuff that we really want to be focusing on as well. So it's interesting that he mentioned that and had that take on when he was asked that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the potential scams are like, they need to have a heavier penalty, clearly, so that it's made it, so that people can't do that so easily.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I think that Will.I.AM, I like the way he thinks, especially around technology. There's a few, let's say, just keep it to hip hop artists. There's a few hip hop artists that are really kind of very aware when it comes to tech. You had Nas, and Nas is, well, he's made a substantial amount of money quietly as well, invested in some big companies. You had Chameleon. So back in the day, you had Chameleon. He kind of, the reason why he only had a couple of songs and just, and that was pretty much it, was because he focused a lot on tech. MC Hammer, that was another one. So, and obviously like Jay-Z getting involved, etc. So there's a lot of artists are really kind of getting involved in hip hop artists getting involved in the tech space, and it'll be interesting to see their take on AI. I've heard, and we should actually react to a couple of things that Ice Cube has said and Snoop Dogg has said, and a few other artists. We'll find it's actually quite interesting to find what people, whether it be musicians or actors or politicians, etc., and get some sound bites, hear what they're saying, and kind of feedback that way, and just kind of give our opinions on these things, because some of them completely agree with, some of them we don't, but end of the day, it's just an opinion.
Yeah, in a nutshell on this one, basically, so much is going to be happening in this space, and it's going to be coming for all of the media, like Andrew said before.